They say actions speak louder than words, but in your case, neither seemed to matter. You walked into that room, not late, not loud, not rude, just you, present, quiet. And yet, no one really looked. No one adjusted their posture. No one gave you that silent recognition people reserve for someone they instinctively respect. You said something thoughtful, maybe even smart, and the air barely moved. Someone else repeated it 3 minutes later, and the room nodded. It's not what you said. It's not even what you did. It's what you were projecting, silently. You're not being ignored because people are cruel. You're being overlooked because your body, your breath, your gaze, your stillness whispered something to them before you had a chance to speak. And here's the part no one teaches. People obey signals they don't even know they're reading. They don't wait to see your degree. They don't care how much you rehearsed your confidence in the mirror. They scan you, like a subconscious radar. And in less than 300 milliseconds, they decide, are you stable? Are you dominant? Are you safe to follow? Or safe to ignore? This isn't personal. It's primal. It's called neuroception, a term coined by Dr. Stephen Porges. It means your nervous system is constantly broadcasting signals of order or chaos, and everyone around you, they're reading it, whether they realize or not. You've felt it before. When someone walks in and doesn't say a word, and yet everyone rearranges themselves around them. You don't know why, but your body does, because presence is louder than speech, because control isn't declared, it's felt, and because people follow coherence, not charisma. Maybe that's what's been happening to you. You enter a room hoping to finally be seen, and you disappear before you even open your mouth, not because you're weak, but because your body is leaking microsignals of instability, tension in your jaw, shallow breathing, a subtle hesitation in how you occupy space. And others? They don't analyze it. They just decide, silently, instinctively, permanently. They place you in the social hierarchy before you speak a single word, and you wonder why your voice feels like background noise, why your kindness goes unnoticed, why your silence doesn't feel mysterious, only invisible. You thought presence was about being good, being nice, being respectful, but you were never taught what actually shapes perception, how to be still without shrinking, how to be silent without disappearing, how to command without needing to control. So you try harder, smile more, over-explain, talk faster, and with every effort to prove yourself, your body betrays the very calm you're trying to project. And here's the part no one warns you about. Every room you walk into is already scanning for who owns the frame, and your body may be the one screaming, "Not me." You think you're making a good impression. Your back is straight, your handshake is firm. You smile, speak clearly, try to sound certain, even when you're not. You nod at the right moments, say the right words, perform the right script, but deep down, something always feels off, like you're doing everything right and still being dismissed. You walk away from conversations thinking, was I too much? Too little? Why didn't it land? It's not what you said. It's not even what you did. It's what your nervous system was broadcasting underneath it all. Because people don't respond to what you say. They respond to what your body says before your words arrive. You think you're in control, but your breath, your eyes, your posture, your blink rate, they've already spoken. And for most people, those signals say one thing: I'm not safe inside myself. Your jaw is tight. Your hands are restless. You're swallowing air between sentences. Your energy rushes to fill every silence. You laugh too quickly, apologize without cause, smile even when nothing is funny. None of this is conscious. It's biology. According to Dr. Stephen Porges, the human nervous system performs a subconscious safety scan called neuroception in every social interaction. It looks for emotional coherence, regulation, stability. If your body feels calm, others relax. If your body feels scattered, others instinctively keep you at a distance, not out of cruelty, but self-preservation, because nervous systems sync, and no one wants to merge with a storm. Even if you hide it well, your elevated cortisol is talking, in the pace of your speech, in the tightness around your eyes, in the way you force connection when silence feels threatening. You think you're being warm, but your body is screaming, I'm trying too hard, and people pick up on that, not through logic, but through limbic resonance. They feel something off. They don't know why. So they pull away. They overlook you. They choose someone else to follow. Someone who did less but felt more in control. And that's the cruel part. Real social power doesn't come from performance. It comes from presence. And presence isn't louder, it's quieter. Dr. Amy Cuddy says we assess two things instantly: warmth and competence. But here's what most people miss. You don't need to say anything to communicate either. You just need to exist in your body without contradiction. And that's what true confidence is. Not a puffed chest, not a charming line, not a perfect phrase. It's being able to sit still without shrinking, to hold eye contact without pleading, to let silence breathe, without rushing to prove you belong. You can't fake this. If your internal state is chaos, your body will leak it, and no amount of charisma will cover it, because your nervous system doesn't lie, and neither do the people around you, even when they don't know what they're reacting to. So next time you walk into a room, ask yourself, what is my body saying before I speak? What is my breath revealing that I'm too afraid to admit? What kind of storm am I dragging in behind my smile? Because the ones who command respect don't chase it. They regulate themselves, and the world adjusts around them. You keep wondering why you feel invisible. You're competent. You're kind. You're thoughtful. You don't interrupt. You listen. You show up. But somehow, in every room, someone else gets the attention, the respect, the authority, the magnetism. And it's not always the smartest one, or the most prepared, or the most experienced. It's the one who knows, even without knowing, how to win the unspoken game, the game of microdominance. You weren't taught this. No one explained that the real social currency isn't how loud you are. It's how you hold your space when no one's watching. It's in the 0.5-second delay before you speak. It's in whether you break eye contact first. It's in the way you cross a room, the angle of your shoulders, the softness or sharpness of your gaze, the way you set your phone down or hide behind it. You think you're playing fair, but the rules are invisible, and others, they're playing to win. They lean slightly forward. They claim territory with ease, a chair, a pause, a tone. They slow their speech when others speed up. They let silence stretch because they're not afraid of discomfort. And you compensate. You talk faster, shrink your gestures, avoid tension, laugh too soon, all in the name of being nice, all while leaking power from every corner of your body. You don't realize that every interaction is a subtle test of influence. Every meeting, every first impression, every casual hello. People are mapping status, silently, constantly, instinctively. And in that game, hesitation costs you. Over-explaining costs you. Performing agreement when you feel resistance, that costs you too. Not in a dramatic movie-like betrayal, but in the 1,000 tiny ways people decide you don't lead the room. You'll still be liked. You might even be loved, but you won't be followed, because dominance doesn't always roar. Sometimes it simply doesn't flinch. You've been trying to connect, but connection without grounding becomes submission. And most people, they don't trust what bends too easily. It's not your intelligence that's failing you. It's not your kindness. It's that your body is negotiating for permission instead of radiating certainty. And they feel it. The little collapse in your spine. The high pitch at the end of your sentences. The way you say, "Does that make sense?" even when it obviously does. They don't hear the question. They feel the insecurity. Because in the game of microdominance, certainty isn't about being right. It's about being rooted. And you've been trying to grow confidence without a spine. You think you're hiding it well. You woke up tired. Again. Your mind feels foggy. Your gut is clenched. You've already had 2 coffees, but your eyes still sting. You're smiling, nodding, playing along, saying, "I'm good, just busy," when someone asks how you're doing. But inside, you're misfiring. And no matter how much you try to fake it, your body is broadcasting everything. Every blink, every micro pause, every uneven breath is a signal. People feel you before they understand you. They feel your hesitation. They feel your conflict. They feel your exhaustion wrapped in politeness. And they withdraw, not because they don't care, but because something about you feels off. It's not your fault. It's predictive coding. Your brain, and theirs, is constantly trying to predict what comes next. It looks for patterns, for consistency, for coherence between what you say and what your nervous system says underneath. When you say, "I'm fine," with a tight jaw and anxious eyes, their subconscious picks up on the mismatch. They don't think they're lying. They just feel something's not right. That's all it takes, a split second of dissonance, and people stop trusting you, not because you're bad, but because your internal instability becomes their external confusion. We are all wired for emotional contagion. If you're spiraling, silently, others won't just notice. They'll absorb it. Ever walk into a room and suddenly feel drained, without knowing why? Ever meet someone who says all the right things but leaves you uneasy? That's what happens when someone's nervous system is out of sync with their words. And that's what happens when you do it too. It's not about being perfect. It's about being coherent. People can feel pain. They can feel grief. They can even feel your brokenness and stay. But what they can't tolerate is emotional dishonesty. Not the big theatrical kind, the subtle kind. The kind where you smile to survive, where you pretend to be composed when everything inside is screaming, where your body says, "I'm not safe," and your mouth says, "all good." That split is what breaks connection. Not the pain itself, but the performance over it. Because connection isn't built on perfection, it's built on presence. And your nervous system right now isn't present. It's trying to escape. That's what people feel. That's why they disengage, why they avoid eye contact, why your words don't land, why you're not remembered. You didn't say anything wrong. You just said it from the wrong place. You were broadcasting fear from behind confidence, need from behind strength, collapse from behind kindness. And others, they don't decode it. They just walk away. Because the human brain doesn't want complexity in social cues. It wants simplicity. It wants, "Are you safe or not?" If your inner state says maybe, their body chooses no. So stop asking why they don't listen, why they don't trust you, why they don't feel drawn to you. Ask yourself instead, what am I broadcasting without realizing? Because you are always saying something, even when your mouth is silent, even when your words are perfect. And the body doesn't lie, huh? You think your empathy is your strength, and it is. Until someone uses it to destroy you, slowly, gently, and without raising their voice. You read people too well. You sense the shift in tone before it happens. You feel the discomfort in the air before anyone speaks. You know when someone is hurting, even if they're smiling, and you adjust. You soften. You give them space. You carry the weight they won't admit they have. But here's what you never realized. Empathy can be hijacked. Your nervous system can become someone else's weapon, because your mirror neurons, the ones that make you deeply human, also make you dangerously absorbent. You don't just notice emotion. You absorb it. You carry it. You become it. And some people, they recognize that in you. They don't name it. They don't study it. But they feel it. And they use it. They know you'll lower your voice when they raise theirs. That you'll apologize first. That you'll take the blame, just to end the discomfort. That your silence isn't detachment. It's a desperate attempt to stabilize the atmosphere. So they lean in. They guilt you into staying. They shame you for not giving more. They turn your emotional sensitivity into submission, your insight into compliance, your depth into a leash. And you let it happen, not because you're weak, but because your empathy overrode your boundaries. Because somewhere deep inside, you believed it was your job to make others feel okay, even when they were harming you. You've mistaken survival for connection. You've mistaken tolerance for patience. You've mistaken emotional labor for love. But the worst part? You didn't just betray yourself to make them feel better. You trained your nervous system to expect violation and call it normal. That's the trap of unguarded empathy. It feels noble. It feels kind. But it becomes self-erasure. And when it's finally too much, when your body collapses under the weight of unspoken resentment, they call you unstable. Because they were never holding anything. You were holding everything. Empathy without discernment is surrender. It opens the door wide, not just to feeling others, but to losing yourself inside them. And if you keep absorbing without filtering, you'll keep attracting those who want to be felt, but never to feel you back. This is how your signals get hijacked. You project calm to soothe their chaos. You downplay your pain to protect their ego. You mirror their needs, but mute your own. And in doing so, you disappear. Silently, nobly, completely. That's not empathy. That's emotional servitude. And the only way out is to reclaim your own signals. To stop asking, how can I make them feel safe? and start asking, is this person safe for me? Because your nervous system is powerful. It's sensitive. It's sacred. And it's not a playground for broken people who refuse to heal themselves. Let them feel their own emotions. Let them carry what they project. You are not a buffer. You are not a balm. You are not responsible for the temperature of every room you walk into. Sometimes the most radical empathy is the kind you finally offer to yourself. You've been told that confidence is a mindset, that if you just believe you belong, the world will follow. But your body doesn't run on belief. It runs on positioning, on angles, on pressure, on space. Because power isn't just a feeling, it's a physics. And your body, right now, might be disobeying everything your mind is trying to command. You say you want respect, but your spine folds slightly forward. Your shoulders curve inward. Your arms stay too close. Your gaze too soft. Your gestures minimized like you're afraid of being too much. You don't realize it, but you're negotiating your right to exist with your posture. And the world, it doesn't hear your words. It feels the weight of your presence, or the absence of it. In nature, territory is claimed not with speeches, but with space. Animals widen their stance. They take slow, deliberate steps. They pause at thresholds. They look not to ask for permission, but to own the frame. Humans aren't different. We're just better at pretending we don't play the same game. You're not being overlooked because you lack value. You're being overlooked because your body keeps shrinking from gravity it was meant to command. You've trained yourself to compress, to take up less space, to round your back, avert your eyes, hold your breath when walking into a room, as if silence will keep you safe. But silence without structure doesn't project mystery. It projects submission. People don't follow vague energy. They follow groundedness, the kind that starts in your spine, the kind that sits deep in your pelvis, the kind that doesn't rush to move, because it's not afraid of stillness. Power begins when you stop flinching. You've been told to sit straight, but posture isn't about posture. It's about ownership. Ownership of your own frame, of your own breath, of your right to exist unapologetically in space. Stand with your feet rooted, shoulder width apart. Let your arms hang loose, not tight, not braced. Drop your shoulders, loosen your jaw. Let your eyes settle into a gaze that doesn't seek approval, only clarity. This is not a performance. It's a return to your own energetic geometry. When you sit, don't perch. Anchor. When you walk, don't dart. Move like your body belongs, and the space was waiting for you to claim it. People feel this before they process it, before they can name it. It's not arrogance, it's gravity. And gravity doesn't ask to be noticed. It simply draws everything into orbit. So stop asking why people interrupt you, why your voice gets drowned out, why others command the room while you fade into the walls. Your body has been broadcasting. I'll get smaller if that makes you comfortable. It's time to say something else. With your spine, with your stillness, with the unapologetic physics of a person who no longer asks to be allowed in. You don't need to be louder. You need to be undeniable. And it begins where your mind stops and your structure speaks. There comes a moment, quiet, subtle, but irreversible, when pretending no longer works. When the smile you've rehearsed begins to crack. When the tension you've carried for years starts to feel like suffocation. When the cost of performing stability becomes higher than facing your own chaos. This is that moment. Because here's the truth. You don't need more motivation. You need recalibration. Your nervous system isn't broken. It's just been trained to survive, not to thrive, to please, to freeze, to contort itself in micro-adjustments every time it senses rejection, criticism, disapproval, or emotional instability. But survival isn't sustainable, and your body has been sending warnings. In your fatigue, in your short breath, in your inability to relax without guilt, in the way you collapse at night not from rest, but from emotional exhaustion. You're not lazy, you're misaligned. Your system is overclocked, always on alert, always scanning, managing, adjusting, adapting, for everyone but yourself. And if you want to change your life, you don't start with productivity, you start with regulation. You start by telling your body, you are safe now, you are home now, you don't need to flinch anymore. But how do you do that? After years of being in survival mode, it starts very, very quietly. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, in through your nose, slow and steady. Hold it. not to control, but to feel. Then let it go through your mouth as if releasing everything you were never allowed to say. Do it again, but this time, notice. Where is your breath stuck? Is your chest tight? Is your stomach braced? Have you been breathing just enough to survive, not enough to feel alive? This is the beginning. Breath is the language of the nervous system. When you control it, gently, you start sending a new signal. I'm not in danger. I don't need to perform right now. And your body listens. You soften. You lower your shoulders. You unclench your jaw. You begin to occupy your body again, not as a soldier, but as a sovereign. Now try this. Stand still. Place your feet firmly on the floor, not like you're waiting, like you're claiming. Feel the ground beneath you. Feel the weight of your body being held. You don't need to float anymore. You're not a ghost in your own life. You are here, and that's terrifying, but also liberating. This is grounding, not a new age trick, a biological necessity. When you're grounded, your brain stops scanning for exits. It starts listening, feeling, recovering, and then something miraculous happens. Your thoughts slow, your panic fades, your voice returns, the real one, the one that was buried under years of adaptation. Because this isn't just about the body, it's about coming home to yourself. You've been over-identifying with anxiety, with performance, with roles that got you approval but never gave you peace. You've mistaken urgency for purpose. You've mistaken adrenaline for motivation. You've mistaken tension for identity. Let that go. Let stillness be your rebellion. Sit in silence, even if it burns. Even if every part of you wants to move, to scroll, to talk, to fix something. Stay. Because right there in that raw stillness, your recalibration begins. It's not glamorous. It won't look good on a timeline. It's invisible, subtle, unshareable. But your nervous system will know, and it will thank you. By no longer betraying you in the middle of conversations, by no longer collapsing when things go wrong, by no longer defaulting to panic every time you feel unseen. You will still feel fear, but it won't own you. You'll still sense the room, but won't dissolve into it. This is the shift, from reflex to response, from performance to presence, from tension to command. You don't scream your way into power, you regulate your way into it. So if your life feels stuck, if your voice keeps shaking, if you can't figure out why the world won't hear you, start here, not with your goals, with your nervous system, because that's where you've been living all along. And now, finally, you get to move back in. You thought it was your voice that would finally make them hear you. You thought if you spoke clearly enough, passionately enough, perfectly enough, they'd finally understand, that they'd see your worth, feel your pain, validate your presence. But here's the truth. It was never your voice they were responding to. It was your signal. Long before words, they felt your frequency, the tremble beneath your sentences, the weight behind your eyes, the subtle plea wrapped in your tone. And for years your signal said, please accept me, please see me, please make space for me, because I don't know how to make it for myself. But no one heard what you actually needed, because no one speaks please. They speak power, and power isn't loud. It's still, it's grounded. It's silent clarity that fills the room before you even speak. You've spent your life rehearsing speeches in your head, fighting for the perfect wording, over-explaining your boundaries, justifying your needs, begging, with poise, for the right to feel. But here's what changes everything. The moment you recalibrate your presence, you no longer need to raise your voice, because the room adjusts to your stillness. Your spine, now aligned. Your breath, now steady. Your silence, no longer a mask, but a message. They start to feel it. Not fear, not threat, but the gravity of someone who is no longer leaking energy. That's when things begin to shift. You speak less and get interrupted less. You ask for what you want, and it's given faster. You enter a room, and people notice without knowing why. Not because you're demanding attention, but because you've become undeniable. This is what they never taught you. That true impact doesn't come from volume, it comes from coherence. When your body, your tone, your breath, your gaze, your words, all say the same thing. I'm not asking to be allowed in. I already belong. And people listen, not because they're convinced, but because they can't disprove it. You've given up performance. You've dropped the act. You've stopped outsourcing your worth. Now you walk slower. You speak with pause. You let silence land like a punctuation mark, not a panic. And you realize something. It was never about being heard. It was about being whole. The people who never listened, they were reacting to the noise inside you, not your words. They felt your chaos and closed off. They felt your doubt and leaned away. Now, they feel your center, and the right ones lean in. This isn't magic. It's not mysticism. It's neurobiology. Your presence reorganizes the nervous systems around you. Because now you're not asking, proving, or hiding, you're simply being. And in a world of overstimulation and empty confidence, that's revolutionary. Let others chase the hacks. Let them rehearse the lines. Let them polish their voice until it shines. You'll sit in your truth like it's furniture you've finally paid off. Owned, occupied, familiar. The world will adjust. Not because it owes you, but because it feels the difference when someone finally returns to themselves. And now, so do you. So no, you don't need to speak louder. You need to speak from deeper, from the place inside you that is not negotiating, not apologizing, not flinching, from the place that simply knows, this is my tone, this is my rhythm, this is my space, and I'm not leaving myself again. And if your voice cracks as you begin, let it. That's not weakness. That's your nervous system adjusting to a new frequency, truth. Because once you align your body with your worth, your voice becomes unnecessary. It becomes just an echo of the power you finally remembered was yours all along. If this reached somewhere deeper than words, subscribe, not just to this channel, but to the version of you who no longer performs for safety. Comment, I'm done whispering my worth. Like and share with someone who's always been powerful, but never knew how to feel it.